Thailand, the land of the Buddha, where we see 54 kilometers west of Bangkok, the world's highest Buddhist temple, a colossal landmark towering 127 meters over the surrounding countryside. This is a land where 95% of the people are Buddhists, and the Buddhist temple is at every turn. Thailand's beginnings are shrouded in legend and conjecture, but the general belief is that the Thais as a race originated from China around the 1st century AD. Genial, hospitable, and tolerant, these people have a native charm that makes most visitors recall their visit with nostalgia. The majority of these temples, this one is accompanied by the usual food stalls. Bangkok was once dubbed the Vienna of the East, so numerous and important were its canals and rivers, which crisscrossed the entire area to form an extensive transportation network. Today, many of these klongs have disappeared to make way for motor traffic. Around Bangkok, for many Thais, life on the klongs is the only existence they know, and the early morning is spent selling and bartering their goods on the floating markets. One of the largest of these markets is situated about an hour's drive southwest of the city on a klong called Dam Nern Sarawak. This market is largely unspoiled by commercialization and has the added advantage of lasting from early morning until about 10 a.m. Situated in an orchard-growing area, it is especially famous for its fruits and vegetables. This night was to be the night of the Loy Krathong festival, one of the most beautiful, when thousands flocked to the rivers and canals, and both adults and children placed krathongs, traditionally small lotus-shaped boats, on the river, each containing a candle, incense sticks, and often a coin to honor the water spirits or to carry away their sins. Preparation of these tiny krathongs was in evidence as we strolled along the banks. Wat Tepitak is out in the country, and nearby, up 600 steps, is a huge concrete Buddha, 26 meters wide and 40 meters high. Around its base, a kneeling concrete elephant pays it homage. Close by, we observed one of Thailand's export industries, dried bananas, whose purities were being tested by an army of flies. Richest and largest city in the northeast, Korat serves as a trade centre and military centre for the region. It is the capital of the most densely populated upcountry province in Thailand, with 1.5 million. Korat grew rapidly in the 1960s with the build-up of the Royal Thai Air Force Base, where American fighter bombers operated during the Indochina War. All told, it has little to offer the visitor, but nearby, the ruins at Pemai represent one of the world's richest periods of art and sculpture, the height of the Khmer Empire in the 11th and 12th centuries. Being of the same period, it is often referred to as the Angkor Wat of Thailand, and with Angkor Wat temporarily at least out of bounds, it offers one of the few opportunities to study the magnificent architecture and temple design of that period. The Ko Yai National Park lies 205 kilometres north of the capital and covers 2,000 square kilometres. The government has provided this cool retreat with comfortable bungalows and a restaurant. A not very distant walk takes one to two of the beautiful waterfalls which lie deep in the shade of the jungle. The jungle is home for many monkeys and gaboons. Also, elephants, bears, ghars, tigers, boars and deer roam the reserve. Although these were not seen, we had our share of excitement to find a python sunning itself in the open. The Temple of Buddha's Footprint. The footprint, when seen, did seem to the non-believer's eye to be a trifle on the large size. It was not clear whether the worshippers came on an empty stomach or whether they had of necessity travelled long distances, but the food stall was always there. At this temple, either a dancing lesson was in progress, or else a rehearsal for some religious pageant. No matter which was the case, the gracefulness of these Thai girls' movements was fascinating. Outside, the monkey sat enjoying his coconut, while opposite him, a limbless boy, propped up on a mat, was begging for alms. Lop Buri was a major town even in the 6th century, so the monkeys have had plenty of time to accommodate to civilization. Its market is large, busy, and intriguing to the Westerner, for here bartering is the order of the day, and the local is quoted a different price to that to the tourist. In these markets of Thailand can be bought just about any food that one can think of, as well as much that has never come to mind. And the colourful scene is enhanced by the dazzling smiles of its people. It is traditional that all young men enter the priesthood for a short period of time at least. This is necessary if they are to be accepted by their future in-laws. A pleasant 2.5 hours by train over the central plain takes one from Lopburi to Nakhon Sawan, and then you proceed by road to Pitsanalok. This is a landscape dominated for the most part by rice. From May to September, monsoon rains transform this landscape into a vast hydroponic basin to nourish the country's staple and #1 export. By the roadside, women can be seen harvesting the rice, for this is not a land of mechanization. The women are all wearing hats and scarves, for Thai ladies are very concerned that the sun does not darken their creamy skin. Pitsanalok, a city famous for 500 years, was almost completely destroyed by fire in 1966, but its river and its houseboats, the homes of the workers, still exist, and early morning hundreds can be seen crossing the bridge on their way to work. The Great Fire fortunately spared Wat Mahatat, the principal shrine in Pitsanalok. This beautiful Wat, or temple, is still a focus of great piety. Buddhism, introduced from India in the late 1200s, is the dominant spiritual force. Its great flexibility favoured its ready adoption because it offered an emotionally satisfying philosophy that did not conflict with the formalized rituals of Brahmanism or the animist customs that were already established. The Thai has a strong sense of loyalty, both to his country and to his monarch, and at the local schools, school children can be seen standing for the national anthem, which is played morning and evening. In the canals, peasant fishermen can be seen casting and recasting their nets with the typical patience of these people, for the fish seem very elusive. one of the temples, this old gentleman had been playing the xylophone for many years, dependent on the visitor, both Thai and foreigner, for offerings. Wherever there was a temple or tourist attraction, the food stalls were always there, principally for the Thai rather than the visitor. These stalls were at the spillway of the Bhumipol Reservoir, the 7th largest in Asia. Tractors were conspicuous by their absence, for the water buffalo is still the farmer's power plant and a treasured animal. Less than an hour's drive from Bangkok is Rose Gardens, where a cultural show is put on every afternoon for the tourist. It is exciting and entertaining and colourful. This is but a small part of that show. The skill of the drummer, the antics of Thai boxing, and part of the final procession. The brilliance and glitter of the Rose Gardens performance was undoubtedly thrilling, but the impressions which last are those of the people, their friendliness, the lush countryside, the peasants with laughter reaping the rice, the fishermen tirelessly casting and recasting their nets, the numerous food stalls, the thronged markets, the saffron road monks, and the ubiquitous temples. It is all these that give us that taste of Thai, which is Thailand.